this episode, Wendy killed a Xenomorph, but instead of relief, you can't help but feel cold about it. Due to the place it happens, we don't really get to see the actual fight, but it was a good shot because it makes you wonder. And when her brother Joe finally gets the door open, she's just standing there. Wendy's not moving. She looks visibly shaken. It's like she hasn't even processed what just happened. And for a second, with how violent the fight sounded, even as you watched from the other side of that door, you might have thought she was the one who'd been killed. But no, it was the Xenomorph who was on the ground, dead, and Wendy was alive. She doesn't look okay, but at least she survived, and you can see what I guess looks like synthetic blood or fluid dripping down her face before she eventually passed out. The scene is so disturbing and so raw that when Joe comes in, he can't handle it. He starts gagging hard and coughing up blood before he also passes out beside her. And this moment should feel like a win because Wendy just killed a Xenomorph, and that's very impressive, especially when you think about the fact that this is her first real combat. But because of how it's presented, when you think deeply about it, it doesn't really feel like a victory. Because, if anything, it feels like a warning of what's to come. And that makes it even exciting as well. This doesn't feel like it was about survival, it felt more like a test. And Wendy didn't just pass, she passed too well and too easily. Hybrids are designed to look and act human. That's the whole point. But in that moment, it's clear Wendy isn't becoming more human. She's becoming something else entirely. Something only she can hear. Wendy's body might be healing from fighting with a Xenomorph, but something stranger is happening to her mind. In episode 3, she jolts awake, startled by a sound no one else seems to notice, a faint, eerie chittering coming from deep inside the facility. A similar thing happened back in episode 2 when they first got to the scene of the crime. She follows it, step by step, down quiet corridors. And the closer she gets to the lab, the louder the sound grows, until it's unbearable. And it's not just noise anymore, but severe pain. And the moment a facehugger is dissected and its tadpole-like offspring is pulled from the body, Wendy collapses. Now mind you, she wasn't exactly in the room, and she never really saw the alien, but somehow she felt it. So then the obvious question is, why? Why does this affect Wendy and no one else? The answer might go back to a moment most viewers might have missed. In episode 1, during an early lab test, a technician muttered that Wendy's hearing goes far beyond human frequencies, up to 75,000 hertz. This was when she found out about the attack, so the test never finished, and no one ever adjusted her settings. So when the Xenomorph made sounds that normal people couldn't perceive, Wendy did. That does not necessarily mean she's a psychic. She's not hearing the future or reading minds. She's just operating in a frequency range no one else can reach. A range the aliens happen to exist in, but here's where it gets scary. Even the other hybrids didn't react. For now, no one has similar capabilities. Wendy's the only one who felt it, and the pain hit her so hard she passed out. Now, whether it's biology or something more, Wendy is now responding to the aliens in a way no one else can, and if she can hear them, what else might she be able to do? A weapon coming out of her shell. Wendy used to just follow instructions and interact with the other hybrids if the need be. But we're gradually seeing her be more initiative. She's the one who convinces Boy Cavalier to send her and the other hybrids to the crash site. And it wasn't like she was told to or anyone gave the order, but simply because she saw the wreckage, saw her brother might be inside, and made a call. And when she gets there, she doesn't wait either. She just takes control of the room, breaks from the group, and then decides to head in alone with no backup or protocol. But back at Prodigy, everyone claims to care about her, but really all they do is argue. The scientists want to study her. Boy wants to protect her or maybe control her, and her brother doesn't even recognize who she is anymore, and you can't even blame him because one minute she was a sick, fragile child who died, and the next she's standing in front of him in an adult body doing things even trained soldiers can't. But Wendy is not waiting around for any of them. She doesn't want to hide in test rooms or stick to routines anymore. She's making choices and taking risks, and for the first time since she came back, she's stepping into who she really is or is meant to be. Wendy might have been created as an experiment, and even in a world full of enhanced hybrids, the bar was already high, but now she's crossing a line none of them saw coming. She's not just exceeding expectations, she's becoming something unpredictable. And no one, not even the people who say they love her, knows what she'll do next. What happened to Wendy? Wendy wasn't supposed to be like this, and from the surface, she underwent this transformation as a means to stay alive, not specifically for combat or for strategy. But of course, when a trillionaire offers to save your dying child for free, you know there's a catch. No one does something that monumental without expecting something in return. But before she became the first hybrid, she was just a dying girl named Marcy. And I also think it's sweet that her brother still calls him by that name, but she was just an 11 years old girl who was terminally ill and out of time. Her body was failing, but her father couldn't let her mind and consciousness go, so he made a choice that no grieving parent should ever have to make. He gave her over to Prodigy, a futuristic megacorp run by a young trillionaire. On the surface, Prodigy promises miracles, transferring the minds of dying children into synthetic bodies, a second chance at life, and a cure for death. But this isn't charity. She and the others are kept on Neverland, a remote research island designed by Prodigy as a controlled zone to house the hybrids. It's where they're monitored, conditioned, and trained, not for freedom, but for their usefulness. And in return, they gave Marcy a second life as Wendy, a name she picked herself in a synthetic body. After the transition, Marcy didn't just recover, she evolved. Her memories, her personality, and her childhood fears, all of it transferred into something stronger, faster, and potentially harder to control. So she became Wendy, the prototype and the first hybrid, a child soul in an adult body or machine built for survival. Even the other hybrids have to follow her lead when they don't fully understand her, but Wendy isn't like the others, and you can just tell. And maybe that's all it is. Maybe it's the way her mind formed, the way her body adapted, or maybe there's something else inside her that even the people who built her can't explain, because there's something different about Wendy. Everyone sees it. Boy Cavalier sees it too, even if he won't admit it. He says it's just because she was the first. And ever since she transformed, you can tell she doesn't want to waste this second chance. Now, whether that's a good thing or something we'll all regret, that remains to be seen later on in the season. So what's she becoming? Is she going to be a savior or just another victim of a company that treats children like weapons? That's the question episode 3 leaves us with. And it's very exciting to see where it all goes in the subsequent episodes.